Okay. Good morning all. Myself Malar and I am an assistant professor in the Department of Business Management. Today we are going to learn the module 5 for Economics for Executives paper for BBA Aviation second semester under Bangalore University. So let's get started with the topic of the government and business relationship. This is the first topic of the fifth module. So let's get started to learn about the introduction and the responsibilities of business to government and government to business. Let's start with the introduction. What is government and business? We all know, but what kind of relationship they have? That must be sufficed in the concept of the introduction. And in the introduction, I have written some words. These are the key words to write when you are explaining or writing it in the answer. In the introduction part, it has been written that government and business both are interrelated and independent. They both seem to me different in nature, but however, they are related to each other when it comes to the development of an economy. Next is about the engine of growth and stability. Government and business, whatever you take, either of the one, they are called the engine of growth to the economic development and growth. And stability, to maintain a stability in the economy, both must act accordingly. Both must be always related to each other. Both must join their hands when they work for the development of a country. Even though the business have the notion of having profit and the government works for welfare of the people, when it comes to the economic development of a country, both must work together. Next is about the idea of responsibility, idea of accountability and the idea of obligation must be interrelated and independent even. What is the idea of responsibility? Both must share the equal sense of responsibility when it comes to the development or economic development of a country. Next is about both must have an accountability. Either you are running a business or running the government, they must be accountable in nature. Next, obligation. Obligation means duty, as all we know. What is obligation for the government? Government has several obligations. When it comes to the society, they have several obligations. When it comes to the business, they have obligation. What kind of obligation? We shall learn in the next part. Next, I am talking about the responsibilities. How do I explain responsibilities? Responsibilities are explained in two ways. The first way of responsibility is business to government. What is the responsibility of business towards the government is being, in the short form I have written it as B to G. And in the second kind of or the second version of responsibility is what government must do to the business, that is called G to B. I have written it as G to B. So in the first part of introduction, you are writing three important key points to highlight your answer. The first one is they are interrelated and independent. Second one is they are the engine of growth for the economic development and will maintain the stability. And the third idea is about idea of responsibility, accountability and obligation. And in the responsibilities, you are dividing the answer into two ways. The first responsibility is business to government. Second responsibility is government to business. So let's learn each of these in separate. Now, the first part, as I said, that is the responsibilities of business to government. I have written it as B to G. What is the responsibility of business to government? Even though business do have an idea or the motive of profit every time to gain, they have responsibilities, many important responsibilities towards government. So let's know one by one and you are supposed to highlight these points with the explanation. The first one is regular payment of taxes. Every company when they start their business, every corporate when they start their business, every firm, whatever the business mode, they are supposed to pay the payment of taxes regularly. If they pay this payment of taxes regularly, half of the problem of stability of accountability is completed. Next is voluntary programs. As we know, companies, it is not only ease of doing business they are also into voluntary programs. I have given a keyword called CSR. what does that stand for? CSR means corporate social responsibility. As we have seen, we are in the COVID-19 coronavirus time. What is happening in the CSR activity? Adani Group have given some crores, Birla have given some crores, Tata company have given some crores. What for they have given? They are voluntarily donating money for the term of welfare of the people during this coronavirus time. We know there are so many corporates coming in up to help the people in one or the other way. So they must undertake the voluntary programs when it comes to the responsibility of business towards government. The next one is obeying laws. As we all know, laws are not only meant for the common people but also meant for the corporate people. There are so many and several laws which has been made important, and every corporate need to obey those laws. So if they obey those laws and take up voluntary programs and regularly payment of taxes will be done, most of the responsibilities is done from the corporate to the government side. And the last one is about providing inputs or services to the government. What kind of inputs they would give? They would be the member of different advisory boards of India. It might be the planning commission, it might be any kind of commission or any kind of government leadership programs. They will be giving their services or inputs. And you have PPP projects under that itself. That shows it is public-private partnership projects where government will not shell out all its money, but it will also ask private people or private company to give or to contribute for some projects. For example, you take the Delhi metro stations or the Delhi metro trains what you have and the Mumbai metro trains whatever you have. It is the most successful PPP projects what we have in India. We shall go on to the next, that's called government to business responsibility in the next part. Okay. Now, it is the time to learn about responsibilities of government to business. As we know, even business do have responsibilities and even government do have responsibilities. What kind of responsibilities is being listed here? The first responsibility of government is to enact and enforce laws. There are several laws. It might be corporate law, it might be industrial law, or it might be labor law. So there are different kinds of laws which the government must enact and enforce these laws. Why should the government enact and enforce these laws? To ease out the purpose of doing business. If not, if the laws are strict in nature, if the laws are very stringy in nature, what will happen? Most of the corporate companies which have come into India will move on to the other countries. As we know, we fought very difficult terms when it was in the NEP, New Economic Policy problem, when we had in 1991. What happened in that time? We disinvested, we started to bring in all the other corporates which were there in the other countries to invest in India. So what happens in the term of that? Enforcing and enacting law is considered as the most important portion of the government for business nature. Next one is about maintaining law and order. It is not only making it up but also maintaining law and order is also important. The government must ensure that all the laws made and all the rules and regulations enacted is followed every time. For that, government must take severe and strict actions if it is not followed. Next, providing monetary system. This is actually a very base. What is this monetary system? Providing credit. As we all know, if it is credit is not provided to the business, how people will do the business? People can't take out money from their pocket and do their business. What they do is they get credit from different banks. It might be commercial banks, it might be the government owned banks or public banks. So from there, people will get money or the entrepreneurs will get money. How and what manner they are getting money or they are getting the credit is also important when you come onto the monetary system. So regular money from one hand to the another hand, it must move on. When this supply and demand of money is good in the economy, definitely government and business both will be called as an engine of growth for the economic development. Next comes provision of basic infra. What is this provision of basic infra means? Infrastructure like transport, infrastructure like communication, Infrastructure like labor, water, electricity. So there are so many infrastructure which is very much important to run a business. It is not only a business, even for the society well-being, we need all these infrastructure. So infrastructure might be social infrastructure or might be economic infrastructure. As we are targeting only about business, we will talk about only the economic infrastructure which the government needs to provide. And the next is about assistant to SSI. SSI means small scale industry. What is happening in the assistance? Government must help the small scale industry. If they are running good, well and good. But what happens? Many of the small scale industry have many problems. The problems might be in the terms of giving wages. Problems might be in the terms of selling their product outside. They can't only focus the local market and sell it, isn't it? So what they want to do, they want to expand their business, means it is the role of the government which comes into picture, and a prominent role will be played by government in undertaking the upgrowth or the growth of the small scale industries. Next is licensing and inspection. This is a major part the government will play, because the government is called the father of the whole economy. So what the government does is, it gives the license if an entrepreneur wants to start a business. If an entrepreneur is running already a business, government must give the licenses. While it comes to even the copyright, even the patent right, all these points are covered in this point. What is happening? Licensing and inspections must be done every time regularly without any biasness. For example, if we take, I am an entrepreneur and I wanted to start a business. Should I go to the license or shouldn't I go to the license? Depends upon the rules and regulations what they frame for licensing methodologies. Next is about inspection. Regular monitoring or inspecting all the products produced is very important. For example, if we buy an agricultural product, there will be an agro mark or ag mark, what we call it as. If we buy an industrial product, industrial, that is ISI mark will be there. Like this, all these marks will give us a happiness or will give us a satisfaction of buying a quality product. So producing quality product and taking care of that products are being done by government, because they are the one who is going to give the licensing and inspection. Particularly inspection is very much important when it comes to the food or food management particles. Okay. The next is about controlling the growth of monopolies. We have MRTP Act. Here what is government doing is, government is controlling the businesses to harden or to stringent the steps to become a monopoly. As we all know, monopoly means it's a single owner business. Can we have a single owner business? You all know what are the defects of monopoly. He can price. Whatever ideas he have during the prices, he will increase the price. He will make price discrimination. In the kind of this, when he is targeting a particular customer and increasing the price only to get profit, we can't take that, because we are a socialist country where the welfare of the people or welfare of the society is a major concern. So government will control the growth of monopolies. How they will control? They'll bring up some laws and regulation where they will have the ease to do business, and every entrepreneur is being encouraged to do the business. For example, we have Make in India project. What is happening in Make in India project? Every entrepreneur is given a chance to produce something, where government is not helping only in the production but also in the selling of the products in the local and the international market. So these are the responsibilities of the government towards the business. Government must undertake these all points. These are the major points where you are supposed to highlight these major points and write the explanation for this answer. The idea lying behind is about what is the condition in India. Whatever we read till now was a theoretical part. Now let's understand how it is happening in India and what are the major focus that the government of India or the government of Karnataka is giving to do the business. The first one is economic planning. Economic planning will be done by the central government. It is called as Niti Aayog or think tank. What is economic planning? Planning of an economy happens. In this economic planning is as I said, it will be done by the central government, and it is most important because how the economy must run will be determined or will be planned in the economic planning according to the revenue, expenditure, saving, income. Majority of the macroeconomic variables are taken care when they do the economic planning. Next is about industrial policy. We know how industrial policy or how industries are growing day by day. How this happened? This happened when the first industrial policy happened, and from then industrial policies are helping the entrepreneur to run an industry safely and produce a very good product. So, how this industrial policy is happening is also important. Next is about industrial licensing. As I said earlier, industrial licensing were very stringent policies were there. But now industrial licensing is being eased out because only to encourage the entrepreneurs to run out their business easily. Next is about labor laws. We have labor laws from the history of India. We have labor laws in terms of, for example, you have on the terms of wages, Minimum Wages Act. We have it in the terms of leave policy. We have it in the terms of safety measures being taken. So, all these kind of labor laws which is made from the government of India is helping an entrepreneur to run a business. Next is about the regulation of the foreign trade. When we talk upon foreign trade, all of the entrepreneurs here are not doing foreign trade. They must be the local supplier, they might be supplying for the district or for the state. They are not doing it for foreign. But now because of the government intervention, government have given some laws. Can you guess this laws? Those laws will be termed in terms of FERA and FEMA. FERA and FEMA. Foreign Exchange Management Act and Foreign Exchange Regulating Act. These were the acts which helped our entrepreneurs to ease out their business to foreign countries. Now, our Indian companies are reaching to the far more countries, are reaching to the whole world. It is because of the government or the conditions what they do it in India. So, that is helping the government to run the business at a very good mode. And how do you write the conclusion for this answer? This conclusion can be said that both of the government and business, as I said, that they are interrelated and independent also in some characteristics. They must go hand in hand. When you write all those things, you are supposed to importantly highlight some points, and those points are written here. What is the first conclusion? They are the most powerful engine of growth. Suppose you think government is not there, only businesses are running. Can we have a good or welfare of the society only when doing business without government? No, that can't happen, because businessmen as they want, they will produce the goods, they will sell the goods only in the terms of demand and supply, they will produce the product. But however, government intervention is utmost important to run the company well and also to the country well. So, they are the most powerful engine of growth. These two concepts, one is government, the other one is business. Next one is, they must have a balanced relationship. If the government goes higher, the businesses will come down. That means the economy slow down. If the businesses go high and the government comes down, then the welfare of the people is not taken care. So, what must happen? They must have the balanced relationship. For example, I will tell you a great example what happened in the terms of balanced relationship. For example, you have a corporate meeting or you have a corporate meetings, whatever happening, the government person, one of the government representative must be there in the corporate level. And during the government meetings or government, there are some rules, regulations to be brought up. One of the private company person must be there. For example, even in economic planning and even in Niti Aayog, there are some major company CEOs are there to plan our economy well. So, that shows that balanced relationship is there between the government and business in India. And the last one is to solve the country's toughest problems. What do you think is the country's toughest problem? It might start from poverty, unemployment, education, literacy, health, safety. So many problems are there. To solve all these major economic and social problems, the government and business must go hand in hand. If they go hand in hand, the research and development activities happen. It might be in the terms of science, innovation, social or economic activities, and the business will run well. So this is the conclusion part, and you are supposed to highlight these 3 important points when you write the answer. I hope you understood the concept of government and business, the concept or the relationship between government to business and business to government. These two are the major influencers we studied, and we also studied what is the condition in India it is pertaining today and what is the conclusion we have understood. And I hope you have understood this whole concept and write well in your examination, and thank you for patience listening. Thank you.